Hi, my name is Eden, and I'm the founder of Community Cats of Belize, Grassroots TNR. Many of you already know what TNR is, or Trap, Neuter, Return. If you don't, it's a humane way to manage populations of cats living outdoors who may not necessarily have an owner, but who have a food source and are therefore able to breed, thereby increasing the population and generally reducing the overall well-being of those animals. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about what goes into a trap, neuter, and return program. So to start off, I would like to describe a few of the steps that go into operating a trap, neuter, return effort. One of the first things that you have to do is scout. And so scouting is essentially just looking, being observant, and seeing where there are groups of cats living together. This is as simple as just, paying attention to your surroundings. We gather information. We do an in-person scout, and that usually involves literally going to the location and trying to assess the number of cats living within that colony, how many of them are of breeding age, how many are kittens, so that we can kind of get an overall picture of the population dynamics. The next thing is to coordinate. We have to coordinate with members of the community, like for example, maybe people living on the street where there's a cat colony, coordinating with businesses, especially if that business is part of the reason why cats are gathering in that area, and also property owners, because it's important not to trespass too much. Coordinating leads into the next step, which is generally educating. So I always try and make an effort to educate the people who are living within the parameters of the community, have direct dialogue with them, and just let them know what trap, neuter, and return can do to improve the well-being of the cats in their neighborhood and to also improve their well-being. Educating is really important, letting them know how trap, neuter, return works and how they can be involved. Identifying someone within the neighborhood who can perform the role of essentially a colony caregiver. And this is someone who can report any issues that may arise. Maybe there's a sick cat, or maybe they can help identify new cats that hadn't been previously seen that need to be included in the trap, neuter, return program. So once all that preliminary work is done, then it comes down to actually trapping. And of course there's, all the operational mechanics of, how you set the trap and how you transfer cats out of the trap, and all the different special sauces that you can use to try and attract the cats into the trap. But of course, another key part of actually doing the trapping is finding volunteers who are willing to participate in the process and learn how to do it themselves, because at this moment I'm the primary person in terms of coordinating and receiving reports and scouting and trapping and fundraising and all those things. So it's really important for the longevity of this program to be able to recruit volunteers who can then be trained to operate more independently, so that we can expand our reach and our impact within the town of Belmopan, and hopefully beyond, into further out into the district, and then into other districts, and hopefully one day the entire country. Once the cats are trapped, they're transported for an overnight hold. This is because on the following day they're going to be neutered at the vet, and they need to take a surgery. And in order to prevent complications after the surgery or during the surgery, we want to take away food and water from them and make sure that they have an empty stomach when they go into surgery. This is also an opportunity to sort of generally observe if there's any underlying health conditions that may make surgery not as safe as it could be. And then the following morning they get transported to the vet. At the vet, each animal has a name, each animal has a medical intake form, so any notes on their overall condition, and we can record their deworming, they get a rabies shot, and just the style of tip that the cats get, because remember, we're working with lots of cats here, and whenever we go to a colony, some cats look a lot alike, and we don't want to take the same cat to the vet twice for many reasons. And how we identify those cats is to just snip the tip of the ear off while they're under anesthesia, and this gives us a visual cue. That's how we identify cats that have already been trapped and spayed and neutered. So after the vet has performed the surgery and they're well on their way through recovering from anesthesia, then myself or a volunteer will take them home for one overnight. And this is just to give them a full opportunity to really get the anesthesia out of their system. It also is an opportunity to give them a meal before we release them, so they get breakfast in the morning, or dinner at night and breakfast in the morning, and then we can kind of assess, like, do they have appetite? You know, do they seem well? Are they breathing well? You know, just a general health assessment can be made prior to the return journey for the cats. Once the cats are assessed to be well enough for a return, they're returned to the same location that they were trapped. For a larger colony, this entire process is repeated, you know, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, depending on, you know, how many cats we catch, how many are remaining intact. And some kittens we have to wait until they're old enough, they have the correct weight to take a surgery to do their trapping. So we have to do little follow-ups, and that's why a colony caretaker is an incredibly important resource for the management of these separate colonies long-term. And then, of course, you know, one of the most critical things in this entire operation is funding. So none of it would be possible without donations. Thank you again to all the donors. If you wish to support this program, I'm going to put a link to the PayPal, and have a blessed day, guys.